name's Rease Kirchner. I am originally from St. Louis. I'm 25 years old. I'm actually a freelancer. I call it my freelance whatever the hell I want kind of thing. I used to be in a lot of different jobs, and I liked a lot of them, and I didn't want to choose. So when I moved back to the States from living abroad in Argentina, I became a travel writer, Spanish translator, Spanish tutor, and kind of just whatever else I feel like doing. I really like it because I work on my own blog, and that's completely my project, and I'm the boss and I'm the editor and the writer, and I work on a lot of different travel websites and editing for other companies, and I also do Spanish translation for a local law firm. It actually started when I moved abroad because I was this crazy planner to the point where I started a Roth IRA when I was 21 years old, and I planned my whole life before I even started, got out of college. It was too much, and I realized that I was going to kill myself too young because I was too stressed out with everything. I had studied abroad in Argentina and Mendoza, so I decided that I would move to Argentina where it's much more relaxed. Everything there is so slow that it drove me insane, and I thought, what better place to relax than a place that is so relaxed that it annoys me? I lived there for almost 2 years, and it was a battle for me every day because I had to deal with 2-hour lunches that never seemed to end, and people taking 10 coffee breaks a day, and I didn't understand what they were doing or why. But it helped me. It helped me understand that sometimes you're supposed to just slow down, and if you don't like your job, you shouldn't do that job. So when I came back, I realized there were so many things I wanted to do that would make me happy, and giving up any of them would make me unhappy. It's a panic attack every so often when I think about how I don't have a steady paycheck, or I have to really search out my work. But it's worth it to have the freedom and the happiness. I studied 2 different things in college, very different: audio production and Spanish. I also had a minor in Japanese, so I was all over the place. My writing skills, I always wanted to be a writer, but I refused to go to college for it because I was too responsible. I thought I would never get a job, so I sacrificed something I dreamed of doing. So part of becoming who I am was getting back to that dream. I wrote for free, and then I wrote for really cheap, and then I worked my way up to working for actual money, and it was worth it. I trained myself. I got myself the experience by doing really cheap labor to be able to build my own portfolio. My year before I moved, I worked 3 jobs. It was rough, but worth it because I had an ultimate goal in mind. So I worked as a preschool teacher during the day, which paid enough to pay my bills. So I also worked at a daycare at night, and I also tutored privately. So I basically worked maybe 50 to 60 hours a week, and every single hour of my day was spent with a child. It was hard and stressful, but I always knew what it was for, and I liked doing all of those things. It was a lot of hours, but none of them made me unhappy, so it was a lot easier to do. I managed my money in a very specific way to help me understand why I was working those 3 jobs and what the money was for. My main job as a preschool teacher, that went into my checking account, and it just was there for bills. If I was touching that account, it needed to be for rent, for utilities, or something along those lines. My other job at the daycare center, that one direct deposited directly into my savings. So that money, I never touched it. I didn't even look at it. The rest of my spending money came from tutoring. I got that money in cash, and so it was easy for me to see that as my spending money, and it was easy for me to manage, okay, well, I have $40 left in cash this week. That's all I get. You can do that with different accounts or whatever way makes you feel comfortable, as long as you know which money is yours to spend and which money is off limits, and sticking to that. I moved abroad with double what I thought I might need, and I'm really glad I did because I needed more than I thought. I had about 10 grand saved up, but I didn't spend all of that right when I got there. It wasn't that I needed 10 grand. I think that I probably spent 3 grand right when I first got there, but I came with my dog, which costs a lot more. And I also insisted on having a furnished apartment the day I arrived. When I first got there, I didn't have a job, so all that saved up money really, really came in handy. I didn't have to struggle. I was never starving. I never had to scrape for rent because I had worked all those jobs before to be prepared for that moment. And that was my main idea, is that I didn't want to get there and feel strapped for cash. I eventually ended up working at as a tech representative at a software company. I did it in Spanish and English. It was a bilingual company. If the job involved speaking Spanish, it was just an automatic bonus for me, and I loved doing it because it's such a beautiful language, and sometimes I feel more comfortable in that language, and I want to say things in that language. I don't think that it's the only way to be mobile like I am. I met plenty of people who moved to Argentina who spoke the worst Spanish I'd ever heard. But you get there, you just have to be dedicated to it. I just think it's one of my skills that I was able to learn a language really quickly and really well. When it comes to saving money, it can be really hard because you want to splurge on things and you want to tell yourself you deserve something, which you do, but only sometimes. And that was part of my struggle, is that when you're working 3 jobs, you have this idea that I work so hard and I deserve this night out, or I deserve these new shoes, but you've just got to budget when that happens too. It's all part of your budget. Don't ruin it for yourself. Like when you say you deserve it, or when you award yourself, you're really just ruining it for yourself in the future, because you're not going to ever get to that goal if you keep giving yourself these little rewards you don't quite deserve yet. My name's Rease Kirchner. I'm a freelance travel writer, translator, and whatever else I feel like doing. You can find me at my blog at indecisivetraveler.com, on Twitter at indecisiverease, and on Facebook at Indecisive Traveler. And my motto is choosing not to choose. Thanks for watching, everyone.